Hey, welcome to Outsmart Your Guitar. I'm glad you could join us. In this lesson, we're going to be focusing on how to get into a solo, how to start a solo, and how to get out of a solo, right? How to end a solo. So the intro to a solo and the outro to a solo. This is what we're going to discuss. It's more important than you think, and it can really make a big difference in how you flow through a song. All right? So let's just get right to it. But wait, press that red button down there in the corner and you'll be subscribed to Outsmart Your Guitar. Ring the notification bell and you'll be informed when new material is posted, which is usually around once a week or so. Right now, I'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you who are subscribed. I just crossed 500 subscribers. It's showing me that you support and like what I'm doing, and you don't know how much that really means to me. So thank you so much to each and every one of you. All right. Now, down in the description, you'll see a link to patreon.com Outsmart Your Guitar. Go over there and subscribe at one of two levels. In so doing, you'll become a patron and you'll be helping support my efforts to continue providing you with high quality lesson material to help you learn, play, and grow to be the guitar player you desire to be, to play the music you love. How cool is that? All right, let's go. All right, before we begin, we have to have a progression we're going to play over. So here's the progression. We're going to be starting with a C minor, then we're going to go to a D sharp, then a G sharp, and an A sharp, and back up to the C. Now, it's basically a rhythm comped with a little bit of, what do you call that? Palm muting here. So you're just... right? So pause the video, work the progression out, smooth it out, put it to a metronome at a tempo that is commensurate with your lead guitar facility, right? I'm at around 90 beats a minute or so. So here's my tempo. And so do that. And then when you're ready to get moving forward, press play. We're in the key of C, of course, and the scale we're using is the pentatonic minor. That may seem a little obvious, but I'm going to say it anyway. But we can also use color tones from the Aeolian mode. And part of the reason we can do that is because the chords involved, the C minor, the D sharp, the G sharp, and the A sharp, all the notes of those chords are contained in the Aeolian mode, in addition to the 5 tones of the pentatonic minor, which are also part of the Aeolian mode, which is also called the pure minor scale. All right, so now you can start on the 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're in the first position, so it will also just be right there. And I started on the root. Okay, so you can start on the 2 of the first measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can start on the 3 or the 4. I'm going to choose the 4. 2, 3. Okay. Now, if you really want to get extreme, we can start on the beginning of the second measure. 2, 3, 4. it's all based on what are you trying to say? What are you trying to get across? You know, and that's important. Now, in this second measure example, I started in the second position. And I've also been choosing other notes beside the root. So I want to talk about that for a moment. Something other than the root to begin your solo on the first, second, third, fourth beat. You can even begin on the and of two, for example. 2, 3, 4, 2. Okay? So, the idea is start on another note besides the root. Here we go. 3, 4. Pretty cool, huh? And it just goes from there. You can start anywhere you want to start. And that's the idea. Anywhere. On any note of the scale. We have the Aeolian note. Right? So you can use any of those notes. So let's try let's play on the what is that? The two-tone, the D. All right? Is that a D? Yeah, that's a D. Yes, it is. Okay. 3, 4. Right? And then we started the next round of the progression on the 5-tone. So it sounds pretty cool when you start on odd notes, right? And that's the other thing you can do is have an unsettled approach by starting on something other than the 1. And using one of those color tones, which would be D and what is that? G sharp, right? And so pause the video and play around with these. Just stay mostly in the first position and see what you come up with. Then, after spending around 5 to 7 minutes or so playing around with starting on different beats and different notes of the scale, restart the video and we'll keep going. Another way you can begin a solo is to take a cue from your singer. Let's say in this progression that you are going to take over the solo at the beginning of the progression, and the singer is ending on an A sharp and this specific pitch. So what you do is grab that A sharp at the end of the progression on the last measure and swell in on it before the C minor begins. So let me demonstrate. Singer's singing his bit. Okay, now he comes in on his last note. So you can actually kind of slowly work into your solo. And by swelling in on that last note that the singer is doing, it's like he's handing the melody off to you. He's singing along and you pick that note up and swell into it, and then you get to start working into your solo. All right? So for example, let's say that the singer stops on the D, the 3 of the A sharp, right? So you do the same idea, right? So he's singing along, and now he comes in on the D. So you have a little more subdued intro to the solo, right? And it really is based on what you want to do, right? So what I want you to do is kind of practice that idea and see what you come up with, and then When you're ready to continue, after pausing and doing this for about 5 minutes, press play, and we'll keep going. All right, what if the singer ends on a high note? Well, let's say they end on this C here. So what you can do is you can do a run up to the first measure of your solo and run up to the C that the singer ends on, right? So here's the idea. So the singer is singing over this, and you're going to do a run up. So we go something like this. This way, you're doing a little thing that creates excitement by doing a run-up underneath the singer's final note to get into your solo. And that's always a lot of fun. Now, let's say, again, the singer is ending on a C. Now, you don't have to begin on or end up on that note either, right? So here's another way you can do it. You can just kind of go for it and go screaming mimes at the beginning of your solo. So this helps to carry over the excitement the singer has created. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, well, watch the end of it, but anyway, you get the idea, right? And so that's the other thing you can do. And you can go over to your bridge pickup to create that biting, searing thing. So don't think that you have to stick on any specific pickup, right? And you choose the pickup that best suits what you're going for. That's the idea there too. So don't think you have to stay on the lead pickup for lead. It's called the lead pickup. I don't know. It's not really. This is the lead pickup as well, right? So any one of them can be that. We'll go to the middle now for the next idea. So with doing the note ending on a high, note where the singer is ending on a high note, you can do a cascading thing too. As he's going through and singing, it's all about excitement too, right? Okay, so you can do that too. You just start up high and work your way around. Then you can actually work your way down even more so, depending on what you're trying to go for. These are just ideas on how to start the solo, right? So pause the video and spend some time here, 5, 7, 10 minutes, and work out ideas that you think might be really cool, okay? Then, when you're ready to continue, press play, and we'll keep going. All right, now you want to end the solo. So you can follow the singer just like we did for getting into the solo. If they're going to start on a high note, you can bring it up to a high note and hand it off. If they're going to start on a low note, you can take the solo and bring it down to a more subdued ending and then hand it off. I like doing that. I think it's a pretty cool approach. However, I don't always do that because there's this thing called the counterintuitive approach. The singer's coming back in a high note, but I'm going to bring it down to a more subdued level before handing it off. And again, the singer may be coming back in on a lower note, but I'm going to bring it up to a higher note to end it, to hand it off. It all depends on the emotional impact. Which approach is more effective in the handoff, right? Which gives the greater impact emotionally and fits better in the context, the greater context of the song, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate ending on a high note and then demonstrate on bringing it down to a more subdued end, all right? All right, first, the end on a high note, right? So I'm just in the middle of the solo, so I'm just going to start playing, you know. Can be just that simple, right? End up on the root. Even if the singer isn't going to start on the root, doesn't matter, right? So go ahead and pause the video and try that approach and see what you get. Then when you're ready to continue, press play. All right, now let's do the subdued ending. Now this assumes you've come and taken your solo up to the climactic moment, and now what you want to do is what's called an anticlimax. You bring it down to hand off at a more subdued level. You don't want the anticlimax to be too long because then it feels drawn out and a little tedious. So you have to time your climactic moment to come about a little over 2 measures before the end so that you have about 2 measures to bring it down and hand it off in a more subdued fashion. So let me give you the demonstration. 3, 4. There you go. Just like that. That's a good example. So, using that as your model, pause the video and give your own ideas a try. Now, I'm just playing in first position. You can play elsewhere. You don't have to end on the root down here. You can end up here somewhere. The object is to slow down, but not take too much time in doing it. All right? So, when you've done that for a few minutes, go ahead and press play. All right, there you have it. A couple ideas on how to get into the solo and a couple ideas how to get out of the solo. These are important things. Now, the middle of the solo is also important, of course, but that's a whole other lesson, and I didn't want to get into that right now. I just want to deal with intros and outros to the solo to help you understand there's a couple of ways you can go about it. Now, one thing that you can do is if you're in a band or regularly play with other people, take the songs that you regularly play, and if you are not playing the solos that are in the recordings but making up your own solos, record the rhythm parts to those songs where you're doing your own solos and figure out an intro and figure out an outro for the solo. And make it a set thing so that you play it the same every time. This is what I did with one of my bands back in the old days that was an original progressive rock band. We would compose the intros to the solos, and we would compose the outros to the solos to get out of them back into the song. This way, the intro to the solo was always the same. It was a comfortable way to start. And the outros, if we were having a bad day, we'd cut the solo short, hit the outro, and get back into the song so we wouldn't torture people because we weren't having a great day. Okay? So you can do this yourself, and it's really a pretty cool approach in one sense because it removes all questions of how you're going to start that solo, how you're going to end that solo. And you do that with every song. You have set intros and outros for each song. And it removes problems in that respect. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so spend some time here and really work these ideas out. Explore, experiment. That's the whole idea here, right? And when you're ready for more lessons, I got them. So they'll be there, as will I. We'll see you there.